Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I will be talking about some of my really hard times of being a flight attendant. A lot of these things happened my first few months of coming right out of training, and I pretty much wanted to tell this story to kind of show the non-glamorous side of becoming a flight attendant, and maybe there's people out there that this has happened to them or similar situation, and I just want to put this out here so that you guys can have someone to relate to or even talk to. Before I begin, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on your post notification bell. I am working on a schedule. I do want to post more consistently and post like on the same day each week. I'm thinking of Mondays, but if you guys want to comment down below what day I should post on, make sure you go ahead and do that. So usually before my videos, I sit down and I like kind of write out what I'm gonna say. Obviously not word for word, because I'm not trying to write a book here, but I usually just write bullet points, and I got a little teary-eyed thinking about this story, and I've mentioned it plenty of times in my other videos. Me like saying I was gonna tell this story, and I don't want to be dramatic or anything, but thinking about this time makes me like cringe, but also it makes me really sad because it was just crazy. So pretty much to begin, when I first started flying, I had this notebook. You guys may have seen it a lot in my earlier vlogs, and I took this around with me everywhere. And I opened it up before I started this video just to see what I wrote, because in this journal I not only did I journal and like talk about how my day went, I also wrote down YouTube ideas, and I also wrote down monthly goals. So it's also nice to just kind of flip through the book and see like what my goals were, and like looking at it a year and a half later and just seeing how much I've grown. So pretty much I have a journal entry here from Friday, June 15th, and I read over it and I was like, oh my god, it just brings me back to this specific time when I legit had a panic attack in operations. So to summarize it all up, and I remember, you guys, I remember this day like it was yesterday. I remember exactly who I worked with, the sequence of the trip. It was a Vegas, Bermuda. It was a 3-day Vegas, Bermuda. I was the number 4. I was flight attendant 4, so I worked in main cabin. And I worked with 3 other lovely flight attendants, one which was from my class, and then these 2 other girls. You guys, this was probably one of the most fun trips I had, but it was also the most craziest trip I had because I had a panic attack. So to start off, and I think I had the Vegas trip first. Yeah, I remember we went out in Vegas. We all went out in Vegas. We like had lunch. Because we had all day, we explored the strip. It was like a really fun time. Now, prior to going to Vegas, I remember being on the flight and I was so excited. I was only 1 month in. I was so excited to be going to Vegas. It was my first time. I was with 2 other junior crew members who it was their first time as well. And all I have in my mind is like Vegas, Vegas, Vegas. I can't wait till we land so, you know, we can go out and stuff. During this time when we landed, I grabbed my suitcase, I grabbed my red bag, and then I had another little bag. I don't know if it was my shoe bag or I think it was my lunchbox. I mentioned it here. This is my lunchbox. So I had 3 bags. Actually, I had 4 bags. You guys, when I first started flying, I was like bag lady. I had so many bags. So I had my luggage, my suitcase. I had my red bag, and I had my lunchbox, and then I had like either a little backpack or like a crossbody bag. Don't ask me why I had so many bags. So since I was so excited throughout the whole entire long flight from New York to Vegas, when we landed, I grabbed all my bags and I completely forgot that I had my tablet, and I just kind of, I don't know, I either put it in my bag and it fell out, or I just kind of stuck it in there. So pretty much I left my tablet on the plane. Now, I didn't realize that I left my tablet on the plane until the morning of the next flight when we had to go to work. So I started freaking out when I was like, oh my god, I don't have my tablet, like what do I do? Now you can't fly without your tablet because that is a required item. And so pretty much what I had to do was go to operations, and they had to print out what I needed as my manual for my flight. And I had to do that because they didn't have any loaner tablets. Usually if you forgot your tablet, you just go to operations and they give you, the manager on duty, the MOD, they give you a loaner tablet. But of course, just my luck, they didn't have any more, so they had to like print out all these pages. It was like a thick stack. He was like, you cannot lose this. I was like, I won't, I promise. And then that would get me back to New York. So here I am, stressed out, like, oh my god, I lost my tablet. You guys, I'm a month in and I lost my tablet. And I wrote, I'm gonna read off what I wrote in here, just this small part. So it says, I've had a mistrip and now I lost my tablet. I need to do better. I will do better. So I wrote this down. I was only a month and a half in and I had already gotten a mistrip, which I will tell that story. I don't think I have on my channel, my first mistrip. And here I am, lost my tablet. And actually my first mistrip story, I should have told you guys that before, because that incident in a way ties into this incident, but I'll actually make that story time right after this. So a little backstory, on top of me losing my tablet, I had taken my car to a mechanic right before this trip. I took my car to a mechanic because I was having a lot of tire problems and I pretty much just needed a new tire. So I took my car before this trip, and on the last leg, so I think it was like Bermuda back to New York, when we landed, literally exactly when we landed and like we were exiting the aircraft, I get a call from the mechanic. And he informs me that not only did I need a tire change, I needed my battery changed. And that's when I was kind of freaking out and I like started getting teary-eyed and I was like, oh my god, I only have money for this new tire. Like, I don't really have money for batteries. So I think I just told him, okay. I was like, how much is it? And he told me, I honestly don't remember the price. I think it was like 2 something. And so yeah, I was like, okay, see you later. So from then on, I don't know why, I cannot remember why, but myself and my two other crew members, I'll just say their names. It was Mont, who was from my class, and this is Marissa. I have no idea why, but we went to operations. Normally when people are done with their trips, they like go home, but for some reason we went to ops. And that's when I started like to panic a little, because I was looking at my bank account and I was like seeing how much the mechanic was telling me he was going to charge me. And for the most part, just in general, I always tell myself like I'm gonna be okay. Either in all aspects, like money wise, I always tell myself I'm gonna be okay. I may have $10 in my bank account, but I know that I'm gonna be okay. Like, that's just how much faith I have. Even when it comes to like going out and exploring like by myself in cities, I'm always like, oh, I'm gonna be okay, I'm gonna be okay. So anyways, so I'm in JFK, and for those of you who work for my company, so in our operations room there's a bathroom, and through the bathroom, like you walk into the bathroom and there's another door in the bathroom, and that's where the sleep room is, which is so bizarre to me. But to get to the sleep room, which is a super quiet room where it's just for sleeping, like you can't be on the phone, you can't be loud, it's literally just for sleeping, sleep room. So the sleep room was like inside the bathroom. Obviously there was a door. So I remember being in the bathroom and I call my mom, and okay, also a little tidbit, I am super independent. Everything that I have is because of myself. Like, my parents don't help me out with anything, my family doesn't help me out with anything financially, everything's on me. So I call my mom and I tell her the situation, and I started crying. You guys, I started crying and I was like, I don't have the money for this is crazy. So of course, my mom, being the Hispanic mom that she is, she tells my brother, and then my brother's calling me and he's like, no, that's crazy, the mechanic is overcharging you, this and that, you need to tell him this and that. And I'm like crying because I have to explain to him yet again my whole situation. And then my aunt calls me and she's like, how do you not have any money, this and that is crazy, blah blah blah. And I'm just like continuing to have to tell my situation to 3 different people, and I'm like hysterically crying in the bathroom, and I'm being loud. And I'm pretty sure people in that sleep room heard me, because eventually one of the managers came into the restroom and she was like, you need to calm down. And she was like trying to calm me down. She's like, just tell me what happened. So here I am for the 4th time explaining my situation to another person, it being this manager. And you know, I'm new, so I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna get in trouble. And she's like trying to calm me down. I'm like literally hysterically crying, you guys. It was like that crying that like I was like catching my breath. I was like and yeah, every time I think about that moment, I just like cringe, because like, oh my god, I've never cried that hard, to the point where I had to like catch my breath. So I was like breathing slowly. She was just like, just breathe, everything's gonna be okay. So I finally calmed down to explain to her, like, I literally have no money, my car's in the shop, like this is just crazy. She like eventually gave me some crackers or something, and I calmed down enough for me to leave. So yeah, I pretty much had a full-on panic attack in the operations room. So once I calmed down enough to leave, I think I had to take an Uber. Yeah, I took an Uber to the mechanic shop, which was only like 10 minutes away from JFK. So I go to the mechanic and I explained to him, I was like, look, I literally do not have this much money. Like, this is what I have. Like, if I had the money, obviously I would give you the money to get my car fixed, because obviously you need my car. So he explains to me, so he like does this whole recalculation of the price, and he was like, this is the lowest I can give you for the tire, and this is the lowest I can give you for the battery. And the price that he gave me literally left me with like $10 to $15, and I was like, oh my god, thank you so much. You know, it was from this very big amount to like an amount that I can afford. And it just goes to show you that everything will work out. Just like I've always told myself, everything will work out no matter what. But when I was in ops, like that just went out my mind for me, and I just kind of freaked out. So I ended up being able to pay for the new tire and battery, and here I am on my way to my crash pad. Now at this time, this is when I was in my first crash pad, and I gave you guys a crash pad tour. I will link that down below. I was living with like 10 or 11 other girls, and you know, the last thing I wanted was to go to a house full of people. You know, I just wanted to go to my bed and just kind of be alone. But obviously that's very difficult when you're in a crash pad living with all these other flight attendants. And I was only living there for a month at this time, maybe less, so I didn't really know the girls other than one that was from my class. So I remember getting to the crash pad, walking up the steps thinking, oh my god, I hope no one's here. So I open the door and I see this girl, Marissa. And you guys, she looked at me and she just knew. She knew automatically that I did not want to talk. I wanted to be left alone. And she was like, hey, are you doing okay? And I just like started crying, and I was like, yeah, I'm fine. Ew, this is so annoying. I do not want to cry on camera. Such an emotional Pisces. So anyways, I don't even think I told her what happened. Instead, she was telling me about when she was a regional flight attendant, and how like she was just telling me these crazy stories of when she was a regional flight attendant and how she literally made no money. And she, you know, she would go on trips with no money, and she had car problems to the point where she left her car in the airport parking lot, in the employee parking lot, for months because she could not afford to get it fixed. And as she's like telling me all these stories, and I just instantly felt relieved, because I'm like, wow, there's someone in this crash pad that understands what I'm going through. I don't have to explain constantly to them like what's going on. They just automatically get it. And that is so nice to be able to talk to someone who just understands. So shout out to Marissa. She is such a great friend. She's still in New York, and whenever I had those moments where I was literally about to have another panic attack, I would just talk to her and she would just calm me down. So that was kind of a pro of that crash pad, being able to talk to her. So yeah, that was that. Another little side story, because in my first few months of me being a flight attendant, you guys, I literally would go on trips with like -$2, $0. I had no money, and I would always tell myself, I always have money for two things: Ubers and food. So, you know, that's a part of me telling myself like, oh, I'll be fine, I'll be fine. Yeah, I have $10 in my account, but I'll always have money for Uber and food, except for this one time. So another little story, I was coming back from a trip, and yet again, one of the girls was from my class, and she lived in Astoria and I lived in East Elmhurst. So this was less than 2 months of us flying, and I'm not good with directions. I don't really know, you know, the area really well, but I did know that from my crash pad to LaGuardia Airport, it was about a 10 to 15 minute walk. I'm from Florida. I don't really walk a lot, so for the most part I would, you know, Uber there. I don't think I had my car at the time. That's what it was. I didn't have my car at the time. So yeah, I remember to like the beginning of whatever trip that was, I walked, because it was, I probably ended up walking because I didn't have my car to come back to work. But we had landed at LaGuardia at the end of our trip around 10 or 11 at night, and you guys had no money. So it was either I was walking or that was my only option, walking. So I was telling the girl I was working with about how I have to walk, and she's like, oh, there's this bus that I take. It takes me to Astoria, and I'm pretty sure that it goes past where you live. So I was like, are you sure? I don't really know the area. She was like, yeah, girl, we passed by that street. You guys, I get on this bus with her. Meanwhile, I don't pay. Do not tell NYPD, but I did not pay to get on the bus. She didn't either, and they didn't check if we had paid or not. So anyways, we were in uniform, we got on the bus, and I have my maps pulled open, and we started going in the same direction as if I would walk, but then all of a sudden I realized we're not going the right direction. You know, the the crash pad is over here, and we're just going down this street. So I start freaking out. I was like, I don't think I'm going the right way. I know for sure that it's not this way. So I end up getting off at the next stop, and she obviously stayed on. So here I am, 10 o'clock at night with all my bags, and I have to walk back to the crash pad. And it was from there, it was like even longer. It was like about 15 to 20 minutes to walk back to the crash pad, because the bus had taken me a little out of the way. Had no money for Uber, and so I started freaking out again. Didn't have a full-on panic attack, but I called my best friend, and just to be on the phone with her, because I feel like if I'm on the phone, nobody's gonna bother me. So I just needed to be on the phone with someone, and I knew she was gonna answer. So I was like on the phone with her. I was crying because I'm like, this is crazy. Here I am walking by myself at 11 o'clock at night to my crash pad. Granted, the area, it wasn't a super bad area. Now, if I was in like Jamaica, Queens, I would not walk even a block or two away from my crash pad, because that was a super bad area where my second crash pad was. But long story short, I ended up back to my crash pad safe and sound. But yeah, I had no money. And back on the story that I told you guys the first time about me losing my tablet, tell me how I get a call from a manager in JFK like a few days later, and they found my tablet. Like someone had turned it in, which is so crazy because I feel like that rarely happens. But not only was I able to get my car fixed with the little bit of money that I had, my tablet just showed up. And last but not least, I'm also gonna tell another little story about how my broke self didn't have any money when I needed money. So when I first brought my car to New York, we have an employee parking lot at LaGuardia, and we have an employee parking lot at JFK. I don't remember the whole situation, but I knew that I had a trip out of JFK, and this was my very first time heading to the airport. And obviously I didn't have what I needed. Like, you need like a little hang tag, you need a sticker for your car to show that you can park in the employee parking lot. I didn't have that information and I was running late, so my only option was to park at like the regular parking lot where you pay. In my mind, I'm like, you know, I'm an employee, I can show them my badge and I wouldn't have to pay this money. So they charged $10. They charged like, no, I forgot how much they charged per day, you guys, but it's like an insane amount. This is New York. They charge an arm and a leg for parking. And I was on a 3-day trip. So I parked my car in the parking lot and I finished my trip and I'm exiting the parking lot and you have to stop at the little booth and the guy's like, oh, I think it was like, I want to say somewhere between $40 and $50. And I was like, I don't have that money. I'm an employee, I was in uniform. I showed them my badge and the guy was like, I'm sorry, but we can't let you out here until like you have to pay this price. Apparently they don't, like, even the workers in those booths where they take the money, it's not like they can just press a button and let people go. You literally have to pay. You paying is the only way that you're gonna exit out of that parking lot, and I didn't know that. So I explained to the guy, I was like, I literally don't have the money. So apparently he brings his manager and it was this woman, and I was like, look, I literally do not have the money. Like, I only have $12 in my account. And I like started tearing up again, and she's like, let me see what I can do. She's like, I believe you, let me just see what I can do. And I hate being put in this situation because it's just like, you know, and it's just kind of embarrassing. Like, I have $12 in my account, you know, I shouldn't be having $12 in my account. Like, I should have money saved, but I didn't. So in the end, this woman who I didn't know, I just met, she was like, look, I believe you, you know, she's like, I've been there, I'm gonna pay for this for you. And you guys, I started crying and I was like, oh my god, thank you. Like, I don't have this money and like I'm not lying. She's like, I know you're not lying. I like even was gonna pull out my bank account. I was like, literally I only have $12. So I paid what I had. So yet again, I had like $12. My bank account went to $0, and then she paid the extra like 20 something dollars. And I thanked her so many times. And my goal was to eventually go back and like find her and like, get her a nice little gift, and also get like the MOD that helped me when I had my panic attack a little gift. I still want to do that. I'm pretty sure they'll remember me. I just have to find out their information. The MOD is really easy to find because she's a manager, you know, for operations, but finding that woman that works at the like little area, that's gonna be hard. I'm also not based in New York anymore, so there's that. But I still would like to try and like figure out who helped me, because they didn't have to do that, but they did. So yeah, long story short, this was a very hard video to make. These were the times that I was super broke. I even took screenshots of my bank account because I was like, you know, one day I'm gonna look back at this and be like, wow, look how far I've come. And you know, I've only been flying for a year and a few months, and I am in such a better place financially. Everyone's situation is different. Before I started becoming a flight attendant, I did not have a lot of money. I had a lot of debt for other reasons, but yeah, a lot of people always ask me, oh my god, it's so hard, you know, the money isn't that great at first, you know, how much am I supposed to save? But I feel like I'm living proof that I literally did not have the required amount just to have before training, but I made it through training. I made it through the first few months of being a flight attendant. It was so hard financially. I was, you know, so broke, but I was also living my best life, going to all these new places. This was just kind of the unglamorous side of being a flight attendant that I feel like nobody talks about. But I wanted to talk about it to relate to some of you out there who might be feeling the same way that I felt, or might be in the same situation. But yeah, I think that's all I pretty much wanted to say about that. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you watched this entire video, give this video a thumbs up. I love you guys for supporting me. Stay tuned for more videos. I have a lot planned for you guys. You know, I have a goal this year to reach 10K subscribers, and we're only a few thousand away. I will also be doing a huge giveaway at 10K. My goal is to hit that before January, so make sure you subscribe. If you feel like you're about to have a panic attack because of this job, hit my DMs, comment down below, because I'm sure there are other people who can relate, and it's so nice to talk to people who can relate. So you can talk to me, you can talk to all of the subscribers down below in the comment section. I love seeing you guys interact. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys in another video.